Hey guys, it's Farmer Jay. Today I am doing the Plant Don't Panic tag. I was tagged by Hidden Oaks Homestead. I will put their link in the description box below so you can go check out their answers. On to the questions. Alright, usually when I do a tag I kind of look at the questions first and kind of figure out my answers. I didn't this time, kind of had a crazy day, so we're just gonna wing it. It'll be good. Maybe. Okay, so who are you and how does the current situation make you feel? I have cats circling my tripod. If there's jiggling, I'm sorry. Okay, so I'm Jay. I'm Farmer Jay. We have a little hobby farm and garden here in southern Missouri. And current situation, how does it make me feel? I feel frustrated. I feel sad for people who are not as fortunate as we are. That doesn't mean it's all, rainbows and roses over here. I'm not super afraid for us. Yes, it is stressful because of the economy and things like that, and my husband's job, well, he is still working right now. Other people have to be working and their jobs are being affected for him to be able to get paid. So that makes it a little bit more stressful. So I'm a little bit stressed out, but more I look around at everything happening and it just makes me kind of feel sad for everybody that we're all having to go through these hard things. What calms your nerves when you're scared? I am a Christian, so prayer means a lot to me. My relationship with God, with my Heavenly Father, it gets me through a lot. It gets me through a lot of really hard times because sometimes you're going through things and really nobody understands. Nobody can. And during those times I've always turned to God. I've always found comfort in prayer. And so I tend to pray a lot. I tend to pray when I'm gardening because it just seems like those two things together is just, it's beautiful. So prayer and definitely just being outside, hearing the birds, fresh air, that kind of thing really helps. Even if it's just I crack open a window because I'm busy working inside, just getting that fresh air and just kind of getting mentally outside of the chaos in my house a little bit. That helps. Okay, question 3. Will good come of this? I hope so. I really hope good will come of this. I hope that people will learn to be more generous if they're not already being generous, and I hope that people will kind of learn the value of that you have to learn to kind of take care of yourself and not mean, and I don't mean like focus on yourself because everybody's out to get you, not that kind of thing. I mean, if you can, you should have a couple weeks of food in your house. You should have some extra medications and medical supplies in your house. You should have enough that if you can, I'm not saying everyone can do this, but if you can, that you could share. You should have backup things. You should have money in savings. Things like this happen and everybody goes, well, that's not fair. This is hurting our lives. This is disrupting things. And it's like, well, okay, but it's happening to a lot of people, and people aren't just going to be able to show up and fix it for you. You've got to learn to be a little bit more self-reliant. So I hope that this helps people learn a little bit more of that self-reliance along with being more generous, and hopefully, I love to garden. I think it's a wonderful thing. So hopefully people think about gardening or keeping a couple chickens for some eggs if they can. And I would really love it if people would learn to start shopping local a little bit more, farmers markets, local farmers, things like that, because, our supply chain gets disrupted, and when that does, since it's such a long distance from, production to in a store, anything along there gets messed up, and we have a shortage at the store and we can't get what we need. So it's nice to keep extras on hand and to find local sources whenever you can, because then there's not as much of a disruption in the supply chain. So I think good could come out of this. I think it'll still be really hard for a long time for a lot of people, but I think that a lot of good things could definitely happen. Are you a prepper or practice? I don't know. I don't know what I would consider practice. I don't feel like I'm a prepper. I've known some preppers in my life, and they intimidate me a little bit because I'm so not there. I definitely do believe in having extras on hand whenever possible. You know, I have 4 kids, so we tend to keep extras anyway. I mean, I can't even tell you how many times the kids walked out of the bathroom and been like, hey mom, my toothbrush ended up in the toilet. And I'm like, yeah, great, okay, go get another one. So I keep a few extra things on hand for situations like that. So now that we're in this situation, I've got them, but I also believe in being self-sufficient in having renewable resources on your property. I'm not going to get heavily into that, but like, you know, like a garden where you can replenish your food, your supplies, things like that. Foraging so that you know what's in your area different times of year. That would be beneficial to you. Having animals that you could use for meat if you wanted to, or that supplied like eggs. So things like that. So I guess I'm a little bit of both. Yeah, I would say I'm a little bit of both. What are you... Sorry, Widow, my kitten. Stop it, that's not for you. She's trying to pull on the camera thing. Sorry, guys. All right. She's being lovely. Come here, sweet thing. You want to say hi to everybody? Okay. Is she not adorable? What are you doing, Miss Widow? Her name is Black Widow because her mama's name is Spider, and my husband thought it'd be funny to call her Black Widow, so we call her Widow. She's a stinker. She's really little too. She's like 8 months old and she's quite small. But anyway, back to the questions. Okay, what are you stockpiling? I don't know. I feel like people overuse that word a lot. I don't really stockpile. We buy a lot of things in bulk. Well, I guess not a lot of things. We buy some things in bulk because it's cheaper than buying smaller portions of things sometimes, which it's not always the case. Sorry. Stop it. It's not always the case that it's cheaper to buy in bulk. Like, we tend to try to price things out, but we're a family of 6, and so we will buy a 50-pound bag of flour at a time. We keep a lot of dry beans on hand because we eat a lot of dry beans. We soak them and cook them, and we don't eat a lot of meat. So I wouldn't say that I like stockpile things, but I do like to keep a well-stocked pantry. Ooh, you're stuck on a desert island. You can grow 5 vegetable varieties. What are they? Okay, so it didn't say that they... Widow! I came out here to get away with the kids, from the kids. I thought this would be easier out here, and the cats are totally proving me wrong. Okay, so it didn't say that they had to be something that would grow in a desert climate, so I'm going to pretend that that doesn't matter. Ooh, let's see. Tomatoes, definitely have to have tomatoes. Garlic. Gotta have your garlic for flavor. Quinoa. I would totally grow quinoa. I would also grow wheat, probably einkorn, maybe durum, an ancient grain. But I would grow wheat. Oh dear. So we have tomatoes, quinoa, wheat, and garlic. Tomatoes, quinoa, wheat, and garlic. Oh, I'd have to say beans. I love beans. I eat a lot of beans for the protein. So I would be able to grind the wheat to make flour, so I could cook flatbreads, and I could make a sourdough start, and I could have bread, so I could cook all kinds of stuff with that. I could make tortillas with the beans. That's a really good protein source. It's really filling. I can make all kinds of stuff with that, and I love quinoa. I make a lot of good things with quinoa. Love quinoa. So I could do quinoa, garlic, great for seasoning, and then tomatoes. Tomatoes are also wonderful for seasoning, and they are delicious. I wouldn't have Miracle Whip or mayo available, but I bet I could still make a pretty decent sandwich with sourdough bread and fresh tomatoes. So yeah, that's my 5 that I would have. All right, last one, guys. 7. How have current events changed your gardening / homesteading plans this year? So on the animal front, we were going to be purchasing a certain animal that I'm not going to disclose what it is right now, in case we do it at some point. We were going to buy a certain animal, and it was more for enjoyment, I think, than really adding a lot of food value to the homestead. So we skipped that because it was not going to be an inexpensive endeavor to get this animal. So we decided not to do that, and we decided this pretty early on, before they started doing any of the shutdowns in our country, anything like that. we had kind of, I don't know, I kind of saw this happening and I thought, I bet that's gonna come over here. I bet we're gonna have problems. So we didn't do that. I was going to buy turkeys. There is a specific heritage breed of turkey that I want really badly. Haven't been able to find it locally. I would have had it ordered in, and that would have ended up being expensive. So I wasn't able to do that. We chose not to. So that changed our minds there. We also were not going to hatch out any chickens this year, and we decided to hatch some out. We actually had a predator that took out like a dozen of our chickens over like a month-long period of time. We finally caught it. It was a possum, but that kind of took out some of our up-and-coming layers, and so we actually have the incubator going right now. So we're hatching out more chickens this year. We did not spend money on slightly more expensive animals that didn't necessarily, like, they weren't necessary to us having our homestead running. Gardening wise, I did change plans a little bit. I've just added a few more things. I wasn't planning on growing like cow peas, and I'm going to be doing cow peas. I just kind of looked at what I was doing and just decided to add in a few more things that I thought would produce a fair amount of really nutrient dense filling food. So that's how it would change. But a lot of it hasn't changed. We had kind of decided to go more that way this year anyway, just because we would like to be able to rely more on our garden to eat. So that's it. That's all 7 questions. Who am I going to tag? I don't know. She's already done it. I should have checked. But if she's up for it, I would like to tag Megan over at Creating Essence. I will link her channel below. And I would like to tag... And I'm going to tag Mama Grows Kathleen if she hasn't done it yet. I will link her channel below also, and I'll be a good person to message them and let them know that I tagged them, because I usually forget to do that. So I hope you guys are having a great week. If you have not done this tag yet and you would like to, go ahead and do it, and then comment below and let me know that you've done it so I can go check it out and see your answers. What would you have picked for your 5 vegetables on a desert island? That was really tricky, and I don't think that technically quinoa and wheat would have counted as a vegetable, but I gotta have them. Like, those are big staples, like, in my diet. I gotta have them. So maybe I bent the rules a little bit, but that's okay. So hope you guys are having a really wonderful spring. I will talk to you all later. Thanks for watching.